Brought to you by Hoover, and these are the best records in Major League Baseball at this moment. Cleveland at 8-1, and then the Cubs, the Orioles, and the Padres all have 8 victories as well. 16 wins the Cubs record. Kerry Wood will not get one this afternoon.
And Kerry might not be happy with himself, but I'm sure that there's a lot of folks very happy with his performance. And he's got a couple of men on base, and Ben Van Ryn comes on to face Brad Fulmer. And Fulmer is a good-looking young hitter, so Van Ryn on for the 4th time. 2 2/3 innings, 3 hits. He's hit a man, hasn't given up anything. And the way Hermanson has thrown so far, this becomes a very big out for the Cubs.
Ball 2 outside.
Well, if you don't get Fulmer, then you're going to see Peixoto against White. So Van Ryn is in for just one reason, the left hand hitting Brad Fulmer.
Big pitch here. 2 on, the 2-0 delivery. Missed outside, ball 3.
Well, if you feel you're going to get a fastball, and Fulmer has hit everything in sight today, Felipe Alou might just turn him loose. He might like the matchup of Van Ryn against Fulmer better than Peixoto against White. How about it, Felipe? You can let him swing?
We'll find out. Strike at the letters. Never took the bat off his shoulder.
Well, now I think you got to keep your eye on the base runners. Van Ryn isn't paying much attention, either is any of the Cubs. You don't want him to get a running start.
Big leads at second and first. 3-1 pitch. Hit hard to right field. Sosa going back. Sammy to the wall. He missed it. Throw to the plate, not in time. 2 more score for the Expos on another extra base hit by Fulmer, and I'm not so sure Sammy shouldn't have had that
ball. On 3-1, when you know a fastball's coming, you guess right, you get the fastball. Fulmer put a charge into it. Sammy goes back, and he should have had this ball. Hit off his glove. Not much you can say about it. That's going to be it for Ben Van Ryn. Sammy had another step before he got to the wall. He didn't make the play. And 4 runs batted in for Fulmer. Charge them all to Kerry Wood. And the Cubs trail by 4. Isolate on Sammy one more time. Now he's measuring this one. He's got a couple of steps. He doesn't have to leap there. He had one more step, and he makes the catch easily.
Tough break for Wood and the Cubs, and the Expos double the lead. We've got a new pitcher on the way. We'll tell you about him in a moment. We are back in Montreal. We closed the book on Kerry Wood in his Major League debut. 4 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, thanks to that last extra base hit by Brad Fulmer off Ben Van Ryn. And now a new pitcher for the Cubs, Mark Peixoto, in there to take on Rondell White and try and put a stop to this here in the 5th inning.
And Peixoto's done a nice job. A 1.93 ERA, on for the 4th time. On for the 7th time. 1.23 ERA. And he has no record. And he's facing a very tough hitter in Rondell White.
Couple of ground ball outs for Rondell so far this afternoon. Had a good cut right there and fouled it outside third. 0-1.
Well, just as it looked like Kerry Wood had reached his pitch limit, 2 quick outs here in the 5th. Well ahead of Santangelo, 0-2, and he bounces a curveball, hits him in the back leg, and it leads to a lot more damage and 2 more earned runs, but still fine performance for the youngster.
Peixoto comes inside on Rondell White. to even the count at 1-1, and yet he very well could have been out of that inning without further damage had Sammy been able to hang on to that fly ball. Mistimed his jump, took it a little too early, and had the ball bounce out of his glove.
No question about that. But the Cub offense will have to come back against Dustin Hermanson. ERAs among rookies. Mark Peixoto doing a real nice job. And how about Yoshi of the Mets? 2 games so far. Pretty nice addition to that team.
1-2 from Peixoto, fouled off again.
And if they were shopping at Neiman Marcus for Arabu, they got Yoshi at Kmart because he cost them $200,000 instead of $12 million. And so far, Masato Yoshi has done a very nice job for the New York Mets.
He's the blue light special, baby.
No question. Got some incentives in his contract, but $200,000 for a starting pitcher is not too bad.
Breaking ball from Peixoto. Blauser handles the grounder and throws across for the out. So the inning is over, but the Expos pick up a couple more. 4 runs on 5 hits for the game now, and the Cubs will have to battle back this afternoon in Montreal. They trail at 4-zip.
Of the announcers and is intended solely for the private and non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is strictly prohibited.
Cubs send out the top of the order against Dustin Hermanson here in the 6th inning, and they need a rally. Down 4-0 to the Expos.
I thought this would be the inning where they'd start to make something happen. It looked to me like Hermanson's stuff wasn't quite as crisp. Let's see if the left-handers can take advantage of it.
Brown hit it hard toward right center field, but should be no problem for Santangelo, and that's 1 away.
The closer in the bullpen, and we saw him yesterday, Uget Urbina, can get it up there. He's going to be mighty tough. The question mark for Montreal is the setup men heading to Urbina. And Anthony Telford's pretty good, but if you can get into that pen, you're normally in pretty good shape.
Mickey Morandini 0 for 2 this afternoon, a strikeout and a ground ball to second base. The Cubs really have not been able to do very much at all with this guy. Things go like they've been going, Stoney. They won't need a setup man.
No, he certainly is rolling right along.
Curveball fouled back, 1-2.
In the National League, Cincinnati leading Colorado 1-0. That game, the bottom of the 1st. Pittsburgh leading Florida 4-1. That game in the bottom of the 6th. Atlanta on top of Philadelphia 2-1. That game in the top of the 7th. And the Mets with a 4-0 lead over Milwaukee. That game in the top of the 4th.
2-2 to Morandini. Ball 3. So Mickey Morandini works it to a full count. The Mets 4-zip. Husky with a home run. Weather pretty nice back in the Midwest. I know Chicago's having a good day, and I assume Milwaukee likewise. Ball 4 to Morandini. The Cubs get a base runner here for the meat of their batting order. Sammy Sosa, Mark Grace, and Henry Rodriguez.
And in the American League, Toronto leading Texas 1-0. That game in the top of the 1st. The Yankees 3-2 leaders over Oakland. That game in the top of the 6th. Boston 4-3 over Seattle. That game in the top of the 7th. Anaheim murdering Cleveland 11-0. That game in the bottom of the 7th. Minnesota over KC 1-0. That game in the bottom of the 5th. And the White Sox tormented by Tampa Bay 2-0. That game in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, Sox are having a very tough time with Tampa Bay. They've lost 3 of 4 to them this season.
And the bullpen up and going. It's Rick DeHart. So apparently Felipe Alou and Bobby Quay are noticing that the Hermanson stuff might not be breaking quite as well as the bullpen going.
He's ahead of Sosa 0-1, and Sammy down toward third base, where Andrews goes to second for the force and just gets Morandini for the second out of the inning.
Andrews has had a very good series defensively. Strong arm getting it there, an eyelash ahead of Mickey Morandini. And Sammy has a hitting streak on the line. And 0 for 3 today to show for it.
Here's Mark Grace, has one of the Cubs' 3 hits this afternoon. A single back in the second inning, tagged up on a fly ball and made it to scoring position down at second, but was left there. And that's about as close as the Cubs have come to getting on the board today. As we said, Mark 1 hit away from cracking the top 10 all-time Cubs hit list. He'll tie Billy Herman for 10th with his next hit. One and one.
Anthony Telford, the man we told you about as probably their best setup man. He came on yesterday. Gave up a home run to Sammy Sosa.
Off speed pitch down and in to Grace, 2-1. Sammy sticking pretty close to first base with his club down by 4. Self-defense swing for Gracie there, bounced it over the Expos dugout into the crowd.
Well, after the game, Dan, you will be wending your way back to Chicago, and we will have the off day tomorrow before taking on the Mets in New York. And I'm sure you've enjoyed it. You've done a pretty nice job up here for 3 days.
Well, I'm looking forward to your critique when the game's over with. In the meantime, the Cubs are out in the 6th as Grace called out on strikes. And the offensive struggle continues here in Montreal. The Expos with a 4-0 lead.
Sweet honey, crunchy nuts on classic Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
On a day when a new era in Cubs pitching begins, our Discover Card Payback Playback takes us back to August 19th of 1969, when Kenny Holtzman threw the first of his 2 no-hitters. Kenny no-hit the Braves at Wrigley, winning 3-0 and becoming the 7th pitcher in franchise history to throw a no-no. Man, I remember throwing the bottle out of my cradle that day. I was so happy. And there's Ron Santo, the guy who hit the home run to help Kenny Holtzman to the win.
Santo's homer beats the Braves. And there's the coach. He's not happy about things happening here today, though, as the Cubs trail.
Jose Vidro leading off the 6th inning for the Expos against Mark Pachota. Takes a breaking ball there, swings and misses at it. 1-2. Vidro struck out both times this afternoon against Kerry Wood. Now we'll see how he does with Pachota. A little better. Ground ball to third, where Kevin Ory throws him out for the first out of the inning. The senior producer director of Cubs baseball is Arnie Harris. Today's game produced by Pete Toma. Our associate producer, Matt Luke. And the coordinating producer of Cubs baseball is Kim Fields. Chris Widger in there takes strike one. Our next telecast of Cubs baseball on WGN comes your way Friday, April 17th. Leadoff man at 2 o'clock. A 2:20 start. The Dodgers are in town for a weekend series. That ought to be fun.
And that's going to be exciting because now that Mike Piazza is not talking about his contract, you might have heard he turned down $81 million over 6 years, thinking that the Dodgers really didn't want to sign him for a paltry $14 million a year.
I wouldn't take it either.
Well, he's hit everything in sight and suddenly has driven in 10 runs and hit 3 home runs in 2 days as the Dodgers are starting to win a few ball games.
Bouncing ball back up the middle. Blauser fires onto first, and he got him. Widger out by a step, and a nice charging play by Jeff Blauser at shortstop.
Good effort by Blauser, and he's done a nice job at shortstop. Very consistent, positions players very well, and he makes this play with room to spare.
Two out in the Expos' 6th. Shane Andrews standing in, flied out on the 2nd, struck out on the 4th. He's 0 for 2. Takes one on the inside corner for a strike.
And behind us, Dan, the general manager of this team, Jim Beattie, with none other than Youppi.
You know, I have no question that this was a setup because I know how you feel about this guy.
I love this man. This is terrific. Plus, I have some Easter eggs.
Thank you, Youppi. Thank you so much.
This is wonderful of you. Great, thanks. Your eyes look a lot like Arnie Harris normally. Appreciate it. Thanks, Yoop. What a guy.
You guys are okay up here.
You can't beat an Easter visit from Youppi.
You know, Stoney, when you're on the road, it's nice to have one of your relatives come up in the booth on the holiday and say hello to you.
But I told you, Dan, just don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Andrews reaches first base on the infield hit. Big effort by Mickey Morandini at second to flag that one down, but couldn't get enough on the throw to first.
This
and
is
Andrews aboard.
Excellent effort by Morandini. It just gets by Peixoto. Mickey up the middle from his knees. Throw off the mark, and Shane Andrews with his first hit of the day. Boy, that's just flat out hustle. And it keeps it alive for the Kent State Flash, Dustin Hermanson. You know, it was Kent State back when I went there. Now it's just Kent.
Kent University. Takes one down low. And I'm sure since he's pitching so well this afternoon that we'll be reminded of his collegiate choice from here on until the 9th inning.
Well, you know, we weren't really known for our baseball being the capital of academia.
That's a mighty big word, Steve.
It's what?
Academia.
That's it.
You only learn those at Kent State. Yeah, they had a couple of players come out of that school. Yourself and Dustin, and Thurman Munson wasn't a bad player.
Thurman was my catcher. That's how I got signed. Everybody came to look at him, and I just happened to be there.
Two and two to Dustin Hermanson, who walked in the 3rd and was involved in what turned out to be a pretty big inning for the Expos, even though he was not able to score himself, and grounded out in the 5th inning. Jim Riggleman looking around for some hits in that dugout.
Hermanson looks like he swings the bat fairly well, although his lifetime batting average not much to write home about. His base running has been less than sterling. but that leadoff walk, and when you give a pitcher a leadoff walk, it usually hurts you.
Peixoto misses down low. The count runs full at 3-2. So Shane Andrews will be off with the pitch at first base. And Hermanson trying to pick up his second walk of the afternoon. Didn't get it there though. Nice breaking ball from Peixoto, and the inning is over. We are through 6 at the Big O in Montreal, and the Cubs need a rally. They're down 4-0. The 7th inning in Montreal. The Expos with a 4-0 lead over the Cubs. Well, this weekend's almost over.
I know. I've been noticing you've got that computer there. You've been, playing around with the keys in your browser, and nothing ever comes up on it. What's it supposed to do?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm blaming it on Bell Canada, or whatever the phone company is up here.
Mari Telemaco.
Henry takes one that looked well off the outside corner, but is called a strike. He's struck out once already today, and flat out to center. He's 0 for 2.
We'll take a look at a very generous outside corner. Mike Mordecai has taken over at second. And that was very similar to the slider in which Mark Grace took a seat. But Henry lives to fight another day at 1-2.
And he hit it hard to right center field. We'll see if anybody can get to that one. It is gone for a home run. Henry Rodriguez hits his second of the series, and the Cubs are finally on the board in Montreal.
Home run number 5, RBI number 10. And he's now tied Sammy Sosa for the team lead. He has the lead in home runs. And I would be surprised if they go much longer with Dustin Hermanson. This is a changeup. It's supposed to be down and away. Henry hits it down and out. And the Cubs are on the board. Oh, Henry. Thrilling his fans here in Montreal.
That brings up Jeff Blauser, a strikeout victim twice in the game this afternoon. 5 homers this season, 2 this weekend.
And 7 hits in the series.
And Blauser hits it to center field, but right in his tracks, FP Santangelo. And that's the first out of the inning.
Henry has to be happy. He pulls the Cubs within 3. And I think in the mind of Felipe Alou, every out he gets now out of Hermanson is a bonus. Dustin, 5 innings in his 2 previous starts, a total of 10. And so he's in unfamiliar territory for him here in the top of the 7th.
Kevin Ory has lined out and grounded out 0 for 2. Takes one low and away, ball 1. Bounding ball to short, a 2-hopper, and Grudzielanek takes care of that one. So Ory retired for the 2nd out.
Ryan Klesko has hit a home run. Atlanta leading Philadelphia 2-1. That game in the bottom of the 7th. And DeHart and Telford continue to throw in the pen.
Cubs catcher Scott Service. Bounced out in the 3rd, singled in the 5th. And shanks it down the right side, and it's in there for a base hit. Scott Service going to the opposite field. And he's aboard for the pitcher spot, and we'll see what Jim Riggleman wants to do here.
I think it's going to be Tyler Houston. And Scotty goes the opposite way. And there's service with a smile as Tyler Houston swings a bat. And Tyler, a lot like Lance Johnson, both able to swing the bat, but not run particularly well, and that's going to be it for Dustin Hermanson. So we told you every out was a bonus, and here comes Rick DeHart.
So Felipe Alou says adieu to his starting pitcher. Nice effort by Dustin Hermanson. DeHart in from the bullpen. We'll tell you about him when we come back to Montreal right after this. Henry helping the Cubs try and get back into this game at the Big O.
All right.
Henry Rodriguez puts the Cubs on the board here in the 7th inning with a solo home run, and a 2-out single by Scott Service has driven Dustin Hermanson from the mound, and Rick DeHart will come on to replace him.
There you look at the numbers. On for the 7th time, a 2.70 ERA, no record. He inherits Scott Service at first base, and it will not be Tyler Houston. It will be Matt Mieske, pinch hitting for Tyler Houston. Cubs trying to get something going. Telford continues to throw in the bullpen, and Amari Telemaco will come into the ball game for the Cubs.
Service gets a lead at first. Matt Mieske looks at Rick DeHart, takes his first pitch outside for a ball. Top of the order would be next if Mieske can do some good here. Brant Brown already has one of the 5 Cub hits. Matt pops it high over the screen behind the plate and out of play for strike 1. Mieske's only had 6 plate appearances so far and 1 hit. He's behind in the count 1-2. Breaking ball hit hard to third. Andrews, the nice pick on the short hop, and throws him out. So the Expos doing a fine job defensively here this afternoon. Shane Andrews, a tough play for the final out of the 7th. The Cubs on the board, but they need 3 more to get back into this one. Bottom of the 7th inning, and a new pitcher for the Cubs, Amari Telemaco.
Telemaco has done a fine job out of the bullpen. On for the 4th time, 1.93 ERA, 9 1/3 innings. 6 hits on 2 earned runs. And still, his contribution this year was that 5-inning stint in Florida that allowed the Cubs to come back, and Terry Mulholland shuttled into the bullpen with Kerry Wood being recalled from the minor leagues, loosening up.
Telemaco's first pitch finds the inside corner for strike 1.
Nice job by Mark Peixoto in an inning and a third. He gave up a hit, fanned 1, and that was it.
Mark Grudzielanek fouls 1 back. He's 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts, and a fly ball to center field. Top of the order for the Expos. Cubs need to shut them down, then come back and get something going in their 8th and 9th innings. That ball hit pretty well to center field. Brown flags it down, makes the play, and there's out number 1.
Well, one of the recent defections from this Montreal team, Pedro Martinez, had a pretty good day yesterday. He went the distance on a 2-hit shutout and didn't exactly shut out a bad ball club. The Seattle Mariners, 12 strikeouts. In that 2-hit shutout, he defeated Jamie Moyer. Pedro Martinez can pitch.
He sure can, and they really roughed up Jamie Moyer yesterday.
6 innings, 11 hits, and 5 earnings.
Don't see that very often against him. Phil Regan watching the 4th Cubs pitcher give up the 7th Expos hit of the afternoon. A line drive single by F.P. Santangelo.
Another good performance yesterday as some of the better pitchers started to take hold was Mike Mussina. 8 innings, 2 hits, no runs as the Orioles shut out the Tigers 2-0.
Here's Vladimir Guerrero. 2 for 3 this afternoon. Scored twice. And Steve Stone
Ready to make that play.
almost makes the grab. Yeah,
Missed it by an eyelash.
I'm going to say, please don't make a diving grab, because it's a long, long way down from where we are. One run, 5 hits, and an error for the Cubs. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Expos. Montreal has played a very tight baseball game this afternoon. Guerrero fouls one off the screen in front of the Cubs dugout. He's behind in the count, 1-2.
You have to be awfully careful with this guy. He takes a vicious cut. You're ahead 1-2. You'd like to throw him that slider in the dirt. He'll swing at that. And he's mighty strong.
There it is, low and away, and the strikeout takes care of Guerrero. That's 2 out in the inning. And the Cub killer coming up next, but a great pitch there.
And that slider in a perfect spot. And that's going to be it for Amari Telemaco, as Terry Mulholland will take his chances with Brad Fulmer.
Well, the Cubs bullpen didn't get any work Friday night. Saw some yesterday, but it's getting a workout here this afternoon. The 5th Cubs pitcher of the afternoon.
And all Brad Fulmer has done is gone 3 for 3 with 4 runs batted in on a single and a couple of doubles. So Jim Riggleman doesn't want this one to get out of hand, and here comes Terry.
Mulholland and Fulmer when we return to Montreal. Terry Mulholland starts Brad Fulmer out with a fastball strike on the outside corner. Expos fans trying to make some noise here in Montreal. Their team already in front 4-1 with 2 out and 1 on here in the 7th. Mulholland's breaking ball dips low. The count goes even at 1-1.
Mulholland on for the 3rd time. He's had 1 start, 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. It was unearned. And there you look at the numbers. Let's see if he can retire Brad Fulmer.
Good pitch there, 1-2.
Well, Fulmer has been as advertised today. He's hit everything in sight.
Single in the 1st, a 2-run scoring double in the 3rd, and then 2 more RBIs with a double off Sammy Sosa's glove in the 5th. This one up the middle and through, and Brad Fulmer 4 for 4. They can't get him out.
This is just Brad Fulmer's day. He got a fastball out over the plate, took it right back up the middle. 4 for 4, and now the strategy foiled because the left-handed Mulholland will have to face the very dangerous Rondell White.
Nobody in the bullpen now. It's up to Mulholland to try and put out the fire. 1st and 2nd, 2 away in the 7th, and he starts him off with a strike. On the appeal, Charlie Williams rang him up. Sounds like the subway coming through this place. 0-1 pitch. Little low and inside. Santangelo at second base. Brad Fulmer at first. Cubs trailing 4-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Rondell White facing Terry Mulholland. Swing and a miss. Strike 2.
Mike Mordecai in the on deck circle. He came on defensively for Jose Vidro.
Mulholland checks the sign. Service flashes. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball hit to second base. Morandini makes the play and the inning is over. So Mulholland gives up a single but does the job. The Expos scoreless in the 7th but lead 4-1 as we head to the 8th inning.
Baseball on WGN is the Discover Card. Discover Card, the card that pays you back with a cashback bonus award.
The battle begins.
Time for the end of Nightman.
Take your best shot.
Next, Nightman.
Tonight at 10:30 on WGN.
Getting late here in Montreal. Top of the 8th inning. The Cubs trailing 4-1 and Jose Hernandez in to hit for Brant Brown here.
Telford is starting to loosen up once again.
DeHart's pitch down low, 2-0.
You certainly like to see a couple of base runners for Sammy, and that's why Telford is getting loosened up. Remember yesterday Sammy hit an opposite field home run off the man you're looking at, Anthony Telford.
2-1 pitch hit in the air, foul up the right side. 2-2. Jose Hernandez off to a slow start at the plate. Batting 158 coming into the game today, but he's done a very nice job, Steve, when he's been called upon to play in the outfield, where he's certainly not very familiar, but has really played well.
I think both Brown and Hernandez have done a nice job in center field. Of course, the Cubs anxiously awaiting the return of Lance Johnson, who figures he might be able to get some play in New York when the Cubs open up on Tuesday.
High breaking ball runs the count full at 3-2. And Jose hits it hard, but down at Fulmer, who bobbles, then flips to the pitcher covering for out number 1. Now here's Steve with the Ameritech play that makes the difference.
Brad Fulmer gets a hold of a 3-1 fastball and takes it back to the wall. Sammy probably thought that he had to leap, but he probably had a step to spare. He goes up, the ball hits off his glove, and it scores a couple. 2 of the 4 runs batted in by Fulmer today, and that's your Ameritech playbook.
Mickey Morandini in there for Jim Riggleman. 0 for 2 with a walk. Ahead in the count, 2-0. Cubs need some base runners. There haven't been many this afternoon. Inside, 3-0.
Steve Klein has joined Anthony Telford in the bullpen. So Klein, the winner of yesterday's game after being recalled from the minor leagues, throwing today.
There's a strike to Morandini, 3-1.
You know you're going to get a fastball here, so that's when the lefty-lefty advantage evens out.
Strike 2 call. Three-two pitch. Spoiled by Morandini. Trying to get on base any way he can for the big boppers in this lineup. Sosa, Grace, and Rodriguez.
We'd love to get at least a couple here because you're getting into Urbina territory.
Toward third and out at first. Andrews makes the play on Morandini. That's 2 away. And here's Sammy. Telford's warm. He's ready to come in, and Klein just about there himself. Sammy Sosa 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a fielder's choice. Looks at one just a bit low. Ball 1. Grace would be next. Sammy, little tapper down toward third. Andrews got him by half a step, and the inning is over. Charlie Williams said, "You're gone, Sammy," and so are the Cubs in the 8th. We go to the bottom. It's 4-1. Expos on top. Bottom of the 8th inning in Montreal. It's 4-1. The Expos on top. Terry Mulholland against Mike Mordecai, who fouls it back off the screen, evening the count at 1-1. Jose Hernandez now playing center field for the Cubs.
High fastball taken right back and shattering the plexiglass.
Frank Poli taking a look back there. "What do you want me to do about it?" he said.
How about that?
You know, one panel over and we're shot with that low home plate camera, aren't we?
That would have been absolutely disastrous for our low home camera.
Nobody injured. 1-2 pitch on the ground. Blauser the backhand and long throw to get him. Jeff Blauser with a very nice play in the hole at short. And that's out number 1 here in the 8th.
Blauser's had a very solid season defensively, and he gets it there, step ahead of Mike Mordecai.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
Terry Mulholland starts Chris Woodruff with a fastball inside, ball 1.
It's Uget Urbina throwing in the bullpen. He'll come on to pitch the 9th.
Breaking ball finds the corner, strike 2. Mulholland looks real sharp this afternoon.
Well, he's got excellent control, and that will serve him well out of the bullpen.
Another breaking ball hit hard, and Ori has trouble with it, saves the throw. And we'll see what the scoring is there. Probably an error on Kevin.
It's going to probably
Ori.
be an error. And it is indeed. Kevin thought he had a shot, but Widger was hustling down the line. And it'll go as the second error of the day for the Cubs. Derek May in the on-deck circle.
Snap throw to first by Mulholland.
And I think Louis Pujols, the first base coach, has already told Widger, stay close. This guy can pick you off in a heartbeat.
Andrews takes a strike on the inside corner.
You know, yesterday the Tampa Bay Devil Rays gave the Sox just 1 run, defeated them 5-1. Today they're leading 3-0. That game in the top of the 7th. So Devil Ray pitching awfully tough in the early going.
They've been up for a while in the 7th inning too.
The Devil Ray manager Larry Rothschild, former pitching coach with both the Cincinnati Reds and the Florida Marlins. So he's assembled a pretty decent staff.
2-1 pitch from Mulholland gets the corner on the inside. It's 2-2.
Looking ahead to the 9th inning for the Cubs, it's Grace Rodriguez and Blauser against Uget Urbina.
Full count now. 1 on, 1 out. 8th inning at Olympic Stadium. The Expos have led throughout and right now lead it 4-1. Andrews waited back on the breaking ball, but only got a piece of it. I want to see what happens to that glass, Tony, when somebody fouls another one into it.
And even though it's early at the Cubs, after today's game, we'll only see the Expos 2 more times. July 22nd and 23rd in Chicago, and that's it for 1998.
3-2 pitch, struck him out. Andrews down on strikes. That's 2 away here in the 8th. And we'll get a
throw some high
pinch hitter here, Derek May.
And Derek May comes on to pinch hit.
Little high with the first one. Derek May has made a couple of pinch hitting appearances in this series. Former Cub. Ball 2. Don't want to do anything crazy here with your club down 3 already. And only the 9th inning yet to try and get that back. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
Pretty good outing for Rick DeHart. In an inning and a third, he threw perfect baseball in relief of Dustin Hermanson, who was the pitcher of record. Hermanson went 6 2/3, gave up a run on 5 hits. He fanned 8 and walked 1. And out dueling young Kerry Wood for the moment.
Another breaking ball hit on a line to right field. Sosa there to cut it off. Widger holds on at second, but the Expos making some noise here in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, if you had your choice, you'd rather go a fastball with Derek May because he has what's called a slider speed bat, and that low breaking ball, Derek was able to wait back and rope it, a pinch hit into right field. So the one thing you didn't want to see happen was May keep it alive against the left-hander, and Grzelcyk up against Mulholland. So now they're putting up a batting screen to protect the folks back there.
What a perfect fit.
Just like the hockey glass when it breaks, only they replace the glass in hockey. They don't put up any netting up.
They're going to try and jam the standard portion of that underneath.
Now the problem is, if the ball goes by the catcher, what's it going to do when it hits that netting? Could have a trampoline effect, maybe bounce the shortstop into a double play or something.
We may have a baseball first here this afternoon. First pitch strike. Grzelcyk 0 for 4 today with a couple of strikeouts. It might be really strange on a pop fly behind home plate too. I hope that doesn't happen.
Quickly ahead 0-2. And with a reasonable chance in the 9th, you've got to retire Grzelcyk. That was what's called a defensive cut, Dan. If you didn't know, if you've heard that phrase used, a defensive swing, and you didn't know what it was, take a look. You take it almost right out of the catcher's glove to stay alive.
That has to be harder than getting a hit. They hit the ball where he hit it right there. Straight back ground ball off the on deck circle. That one's toward Blauser, who goes the short way to second, and the inning is over. So one more chance for the Cubs in Montreal. We go to the ninth. They trail 4-1.
Light up Larry Legend and rival Indiana. Don't miss Bulls Pacers Monday at 7 on WGN.
Top of the ninth in Montreal, and the Cubs face an uphill battle, trailing 4-1 and having to go against one of the very tough relievers in all of baseball.
Urbina on for the 5th time. He's got a save. The Cubs saw it up close and personal. But the man he's facing, Mark Grace, lifetime 6 for 9 against Urbina. So that bodes well at the top. And then it'll be Rodriguez and Blauser as Urbina bidding for his 2nd save of the year.
Starts Grace off with a fastball up high. Urbina pitched well yesterday. 1 inning and a couple of strikeouts. Grace hit it high and deep to right field. Back to the fence is Guerrero to make the catch. A step in front of the wall. Grace hit it hard but out, and there's one away.
Well, after scoring 30 runs in 2 games against Colorado, Cincinnati has 10 in the 3rd inning today, and Mark Grace misses by 2 feet of leaving the ballpark. So the Reds leading 10-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. That's 40 runs in 2 1/3 games against that vaunted Rocky pitching staff.
Henry Rodriguez homered his last time. He's 1 for 3.
Well, Urbina can rush it up there. He had shoulder surgery that ended his 1996 season. Last year with 27 saves, 84 strikeouts and 64 innings.
High fastball. Henry chases. Calls it back, and that may have hit that screen. Look where it wound up. Back at first base.
I told you, if it hits that screen, it's going to bound out there, and it did indeed hit the screen. And Fulmer, who's made every other play, made this one.
Brad Fulmer, 4 hits today, 2 singles, 2 doubles, and 4 runs knocked in. He's accounted for all the Expos runs. Henry goes fishing and strikes out. Urbina gave him one down in his shoe tops, and Henry went after it.
Good hard slider from Uget Urbina. Bye-bye, Henry.
So we're down to our last gasp here, and Jeff Blauser with 2 out in the 9th, and the Cubs trailing 4-1. Fly ball right field out of play. Blauser 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts.
Then one
high there.
Exploded in the glove of Chris Widger behind the plate.
Where was that pitch? Looked pretty good from this angle. That one's down, hit hard, but right at Vladimir Guerrero, and the Expos have taken care of the Cubs. Fireworks explode in center field, and the Montreal bench empties as they line up for the game-ending handshake here.
Well, Montreal came into this series winners of only 1 game, and they threw some pretty good pitching at the Cubs today. It was Dustin Hermanson, Rick DeHart, and Uget Urbina, and they just completely handcuffed the Cubs. And as far as the Cubs are concerned, Brad Fulmer was not exactly the Easter Bunny, as he drives in all 4 runs with his 4 for 4 day, spoiling the debut of Kerry Wood. But you'd have to say, Dan, overall, Kerry Wood was pretty impressive. Realistically, should have given up just a couple of runs in 5 innings of work. Instead, he gives up 4. The Cub offense, which has been really tough all year, didn't do much with this tough Expo pitching today.
Dustin Hermanson gets the victory. Kerry Wood, your losing pitcher in his major league debut, as the Expos win the game and the series from the Cubs. The final score 4-1. Back to Olympic Stadium with more after this. Play of the game right here in the 3rd inning. The first of 2 RBI doubles for Brad Fulmer in a 4-for-4 afternoon. Fulmer drove in all the Expos runs in a 4-1 victory over the Cubs, and Montreal takes the series 2-1. Our next Cubs telecast on WGN will be Friday afternoon from Wrigley Field when the Dodgers come to town to play a 3-game weekend set with the Cubs. Our broadcast begins at 2 with the leadoff man. Your final totals: the Expos 4 runs on 9 hits and no errors. The Cubs 1 run, 5 hits and 2 errors. For Steve Stone, this is Dan Roan. Good afternoon and happy Easter, everybody, from Montreal.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for a crisp, clean, classic taste. Ameritech, in a world of technology, people make the difference. Pepsi, Generation Next. ComEd, providing customers with reliable electric service for over 100 years. And by Southwest Airlines, offering low fares and frequent flights. Southwest Airlines, the official airline of the Chicago Cubs.
WGN 58.